Okay. Okay, welcome back. Sorry about that, guys. We had a few technical issues on the streaming side. I think they are resolved now. So we should be up and running, and we should be up and running with streaming on multiple platforms. Should be streaming on X, TikTok, and long and shorts on YouTube. So if you have questions or comments, drop them into chat, and I will be happy to try to give you an answer, give you some insight. So, quick recap. Who am I? My name's Joe. I'm a solutions architect in the enterprise software space. Been doing that work for nearly 30 years. I've worked in Silicon Valley. I've worked for everything from federal government, local, state governments, Fortune 250, Fortune 500, and everything else in between, large enterprises, insurance companies, utility companies, finance companies, the list goes on and on and on. The bottom line is that I basically architect solutions, software solutions, to accomplish specific types of tasks. A lot of it's around customer communications, but also I have worked in other various areas or disciplines related to software solutions. So if you've got questions or comments, drop them in. If you have general questions or comments related to career, business, AI, tech in general, feel free to drop those questions, comments into chat. Again, I am running multiple streams, and I should be able to see everybody's questions and comments coming in from all the various platforms. So feel free to drop your comments into that, and I'll be happy to have a conversation. So, again, what are we talking about? So, if you haven't been paying attention, perhaps you've been in a cave and not paying attention. AI is taking the world by storm. It's taking business by storm. It's taken our jobs by storm. AI is certainly should be the most common topic on your mind because it is the biggest threat that we have for employment. If you've been listening and paying attention to some of the most recent information, there was economic news that was released this past week stating 108,000 jobs are being basically removed from the market. So 108,000 layoffs, which is an accumulative amount across a variety of different companies that made announcements during January. Most of those are being attributed to migrating those jobs and roles to AI functionality. So if you're somebody who has a job and you're concerned about it, drop your question, comment in chat there, and I'm happy to have a conversation, and we can see if we can't get you some strategy or game plan on how you might be able to keep yourself relevant in the age of AI. Again, I can see comments and questions pretty much across the spectrum here. So drop them in, and I will do my best to answer them for you. Looks like we might have had a little problem streaming on X, so We'll restart that stream. Okay, now I'm getting more errors. So I do see a comment we have. What is the best way of earning money as a teenager? This is coming from Legic. If you're still out there on YouTube and probably on Shorts, that seems to be the most popular stream in terms of questions and comments. So thank you for your comment. So if I was a teenager and I was looking at making some money, to be perfectly honest, I would take Mark Cuban's advice, and that is to learn AI. And what does that mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the OpenAI employee or the Anthropic employee, right? Which are basically data scientists, software engineers, things of this nature. But there is a huge gap in businesses understanding exactly how do they implement AI in terms of benefiting their business, and what does it actually look like. So there are a lot of what I would refer to, and what we kind of refer to in the industry as low-hanging fruit, as related to solutions that you could potentially develop, configure for a small to medium-sized business. Now, here's the catch when it comes to your small to medium-sized businesses. Typically, the smaller the business, the more demanding they are in terms of your time and your effort. And they're also, because they're a small business, typically looking to pay as little as possible for all that time and work. So your target is actually kind of better to be more on the mid-sized businesses, medium-sized businesses. But as a teenager, you may find that difficult. So my advice would be, if you're looking to do a little bit of consulting, brush up on some AI skills. And when I say AI skills, I'm specifically talking about understand how you could implement AI, okay, to benefit a business. And here's a few simple examples. So businesses are constantly having to follow up on leads, right? Sales opportunities. So there are many different solutions now from the various platforms that you can put together in a deliverable solution. And in essence, it becomes either a simple chatbot, or it becomes something a bit more complex with not only a chatbot, but also with the ability to interact real time with a avatar based on the AI, as well as the voice being generated by the AI, that can interact with their potential customers to follow up on leads, and to help close those leads. That's one of the most beneficial areas of being able to provide some simplified solutions to small businesses, especially if you're just kind of getting started. Because one of the key things related to smaller businesses is they need sales, right? Without sales, they die. So anything you can do to bring that in through AI as a benefit would be great. Now, the other thing that people miss, and I will tell you this firsthand from all the experience that I have, is that operational, okay? If you can get into a business, especially if you're a teenager, perhaps it's a friend of the family's, and you can get into that business and learn something about that business in terms of how it runs, okay? And then using some critical thinking, devise a way that you might be able to develop a solution based on using AI. And that could be, again, a chat bot, could be an audio bot, could be automation processes, okay, that you could make their running of their business, the operational side, easier and less expensive for them. That's also hugely beneficial for a small business who's looking to minimize the amount of salary expense they have to pay out, or contractor expense they have to pay out. So that would be my recommendation. Again, it's kind of piggybacking off of Mark Cuban's suggestion. there's a huge gap out there. I got actually lots of ideas, but those are the first I would throw out. So hopefully you're still around. If you got questions, comments, or you need something followed up on, by all means, just drop something else into the chat. Where are you from? I'm from a planet called Earth. It's here in our solar system. Actually, if you look at any of my stuff, you'll see I'm from Chicago, Illinois, the good old United States. You're welcome. You're welcome for the answer. The other really big opportunity, I believe, is going to be around websites. Now, that might sound counterintuitive if you're still out there. But what I mean by that is that there is actually no better time and actually easier opportunity in terms of creating websites. If you learn some basic coding and you utilize some of the coding agents like OpenAI's Codex or Anthropic's Claude Code, you can build a website very, very fast. But here's the key, okay? If you, and I don't know if you have any background or familiarity with websites today, but a huge percentage of them, and I'm talking, I think it's in the 80% range, are built on something called WordPress, okay? WordPress is a pig, P-I-G, pig, okay? Why? Because it uses a database behind the scenes. It is sold as free, okay, because you can go and you can install it, quote unquote, for free, but you have to pay for the platform, and then you have to pay for all the plugins, and the plugins slow things down, and it becomes a nightmare. And I know this from firsthand. And what the SEO platforms, specifically like Google, are really valuing is speed and functionality on these websites. And WordPress is a pig, and it just slows everything down. It's a pain, and it can become very expensive to support for a variety of reasons. So moving people off of WordPress into something that is a better platform, but that is not as friendly to manage, okay? Because you're going to manage it through code, not through a complex interface, which is what they have today. You can save them money in the long run because you can actually deploy it faster for less money, and then it'll operate better for the customer, and you would be able to add features and functions that you wouldn't normally be able to add to a WordPress site in a short amount of time with a little amount of effort. So that's the other thing that I would throw out there. So I think you had another follow-up question. When you started earning for yourself, so I come from an entrepreneurial background. So I literally was working in my father's department store when I was 13, and promoted to manager, night manager, when I was like 13, 14 years old. That's just the family that I came from. So my family's always been very entrepreneurial, both my mother and my father, and I grew up in that environment. So honestly, I started working at a very young age, probably around 11 or 12. We were not necessarily required, but encouraged to be in the store and working, whether it was stocking, pricing, cleaning, vacuuming. I vacuumed a lot of square footage over my youth. So I learned a lot about business because my family was in business for a very, very long time. Then eventually I moved into corporate America. So yeah, I absolutely encourage you, if you've got that drive and got that ambition, now is the time to start. And AI is going to provide a lot of opportunities, and I can talk more about that in a minute. So I see someone's dropping in. I inherited $100,000. What is the best thing to do with it? It's a great question, and I'm going to give you a very simple answer. Well,